On an overcast spring evening in Seattle, our national pastime takes center stage at Husky Ballpark as Washington and Illinois duke it out in Game 2 of their first series as Big Ten Conference peers. Hi everyone, with Scott Gladstone, I'm Jason Doro, and Scott, Game 1 of this series featured one heck of a pitcher's duel. A splendid Saturday evening in Seattle, a bit cooler than it was 24 hours ago, but certainly good enough for some Big Ten baseball.
Yeah, wind, kind of light breeze out to left center field. Obviously, it's kept every ball in the ballpark thus far. But, yeah, I mean, about as good as you can ask for. Mid-April here in Seattle. Obviously, it can get cold, it can get rainy. If there's no precipitation in the air, you'll take it.
Well, for an offensive-minded team like Illinois, not exactly favorable conditions with the wind blowing in off the lake. Crisp at 55 degrees. As LaChance fouls that one away, 1-2. But the Illini came in having scored 32 runs in their last 14 innings.
Yeah. They
were on a power surge. And now they're amidst a blackout with only one run over 12 innings so far in Seattle. As LaChance pops this one out to Wilson at third.
I think the biggest cloud right now is in their head because you come in that hot. And then I think it was those getting, like, you know, the first 8 innings, the first 2 batters get out. And it's just that kind of mental hurdle that you need to get over and realize, like, hey, it's not that much harder to hit here. Let's just kind of get back to basics and find a way to get on. I mean, I think Chialoy did a great job there with reaching on an infield single last inning to just try and do something, and that's really what it is. Put it on the ground, make this defense work. But really, you know, you can just tell they're not swinging the same way they did midweek against SIU Edwardsville, as it's going to be this funky roving outfielder shift on again. There is nobody in the infield to the left of second base. Not one. They're daring Jennings to hit it over there.
Yeah, you can see the third baseman Wilson's just to the left of that W logo in left center field as Jennings takes strike number 2. It's certainly unique in this shift that Eddie Smith and company have configured. Thomas just misses the outer edge, full count.
Well, and it's something that's always really interesting because I always like to look at how does the pitcher adjust, because Thomas doesn't look back and look at how his defense is lining up. He just kind of gets the signs essentially. And you realize in a situation like this, you probably want to pitch on the inside for a left-handed batter and hope that he pulls it, because that's where things are going to get a lot better for you. And so it's always interesting because right after that he did put one on the outside. And it goes to no man's land.
It bounces it right at where the shortstop would normally be. Great job by Jennings to beat the shift for a 1-out single.
I love it when you see something like that because it's players being able to play situational baseball and take situational swings. That's something that all the time in batting practice, what coaches will say, and for those who don't know, for those who haven't had a batting practice that they've either taken part in or listened to, been privy to, coaches all the time will say, okay, this is 2-out runners are going, 2-out hit and run, runner on third, less than 2 outs. Different situations all the time. Is this going to be another base hit?
Valencius ropes it into left field. A couple of base knocks for him today. Illinois with their biggest threat of the ball game here in the 4th.
Yeah, these are all specific situations, and when you get into small ball, which is how this series has gone to this point, with a 3-1 decision yesterday, and right now just 2 runs across in the first 3 innings, it becomes very important to play to the situation. How do you get a run across here, a run across there? Westcott, of course, is a guy that can really put a hammer on it, but the only run-scoring play of this series thus far for Illinois has been off the bat of Westcott.
He takes a ball off the plate. Redshirt senior from Edwardsville, Illinois, who transferred over from Louisville. Last year, 3rd team All Big Ten after slugging .571. He was top 4 in the Big Ten in both home runs and walks a year ago.
And you can see, you talk about PitchCom for pitchers, he's got the watch on there, and he's getting his signs as well from the watch that he has on his left wrist, Westcott. Take a quick look down. It's like you're checking the time on your Apple Watch. Boom, okay. And now back into it. Might have gotten a take sign there or something specifically.
Thomas grooves one in, 3 balls and a strike.
And then you see there for the pitcher, it's on the underside of his left wrist.
And the bases are loaded. Illinois had not put multiple runners on base at the same time until this inning. And now they got 3 ducks on the pond.
A monster moment right now for Colton Quagliano. And just a quick check-in between catcher Bauer and his pitcher Thomas. Not enough for a full mound visit. But, yeah, I mean, this is the biggest at-bat of the series thus far for Quagliano. And it has a moment to feel like, okay, is Illinois going to fight back after this early deficit? So right now the borderline pitches just aren't finding the edges of the strike zone. Quagliano, the kid from Kewanee, Illinois, transfer from Illinois Central College, got to come up with a swing to at least score 1 here with only 1 out.
He's 0 for 5 so far in the series, although he had 3 hits on Tuesday in the massive win against SIUE. A brushback pitch. 2 balls and a strike.
Misericordia would have been wearing that one. And it would have been an RBI. But don't want to mess with the hands. That's the one place where
He drives it out to left field. Guerrero makes the grab. Jennings tags at third, and he sprints to the plate. A sacrifice fly from Quagliano, and Illinois slices the deficit in half.
That's a great job to just do a job there for Quagliano and realize I don't need to tie this game in one swing of the bat. I just need to put this ball in the air, into the outfield, mid to deep outfield, and it's going to get a run across. And that's exactly what happened there. We're in the top of the 4th inning. You don't need to tie this game in one swing. And if you do that, you're going to pop it up on the infield. You're going to send it right to the shortstop and get a double play. But if you just do that, you pick up an RBI, you don't hurt your batting average, and the lead's cut in half.
A deep breath from Jacob Schroeder. 1 for 4 in this series with a double. That's the only extra base hit for the Illini this weekend, but he gets under it. And it should be a cakewalk for the left side of the Husky infield. DiCarlo calls everyone off and closes the frame. Illinois crosses 1 on a pair of singles. No errors, 2 left. The Illini on the board now, but the Huskies still in front by 1. One of the most storied programs in Big Ten baseball has made the long trip out to Seattle, and here's some of that history. They were playing Big Ten baseball before they rolled the Model T off the assembly line.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy the amount of history that this Illinois squad has been through, and just in general, being able to see all the different eras of the Big Ten, all the different teams roll through, and it's really interesting. It's going to be fascinating to see how teams and rivalries are going to establish themselves throughout different sports, because sometimes rivalries are geography dependent, and obviously that's the case with the University of Washington and Oregon. Every single sport, every time the Ducks and the Huskies face off, it's going to be a bloodbath. But as you take a look at teams that are going to consistently be good, Illinois, with they're constantly competing in the Big Ten in baseball. How is their rivalries going to surface with maybe a UCLA, USC, and Oregon and a Washington, teams that have all have varied amount of successes in, for the most part, the Pac-12 or whatever version of the Pac conference that they've played in. It's kind of interesting, and you don't play every team every year, which is also kind of tricky to really start things going. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because we were just talking beforehand. You start play in 1896. How does the game change from then to now? Just everything. The technology, the pitch comm, nobody was even fathoming that was going to be a thing. They were just trying to get to the ballpark in one piece, I'm sure.
Can you imagine being the coach sending Cy Young his pitch comm direction for pitch number 165 of the night?
Yeah. Yeah,
throw 3 balls and a strike for Braden Terry as he leads off the 4th.
Throw another 74-mile-per-hour fastball or however. There's going to be some baseball purists out there. Yeah, no shade. It's a different era. Velocity, I mean, I don't know.
Well, you think Cy Young in a series like this would pitch game 1 and game 3?
I think he'd pitch 1, 2, and 3.
All 3?
Yeah. Well, I think really if Cy Young laced up, as he just held back on that swing there during the walk Terry did, I think if Cy Young laced it up and was out there on the mound, I think he'd probably get shelled out within an inning or two. Like, I'm of the belief that,
the game has evolved that much.
And I think it's important to see somebody in their stats for where they're at, because, you can only evolve the game so much. And obviously Cy Young, in a sense, changed the game just as much started the game, but it's, if it was actually head-to-head, this lineup would slice through him like a hot knife through butter.
Well, maybe one day a Field of Dreams will give us a chance to see former legends play modern-era baseball players. The bunt is popped up by Hotchkiss, but a diving Shupman can't grab it. Great hustle play by Shupman at the hot corner, but he couldn't quite get there in time. Off the fists of Hotchkiss and into the stands. The freshman from Battleground, Washington, on an 8-game hitting streak, the longest active streak on this Husky roster. And he's not just putting a base knock on his stat sheet each game. He's got 3 multi-hit games during that stretch, as well as 4 doubles. Off the end of the bat, spinning toward Quagliano, who spins over to second. Zebig on the twist. Hotchkiss beats the throw as Illinois records the first out in the 4th.
That's a good job by Quagliano there to flip the hips and be able to fire to Zebig. You see as this ball kind of rolls over there, he has to go to his left, and that throw is so difficult, especially for somebody who's right-handed, because you think about that, your hips are entirely going essentially towards the left field foul pole, and then to make that throw, you have to pop them around and then be able to wing your arm back and fire it there. And at the same time, you're trying to do it quickly so you can try and get that 4.63 double play. It's just one of those things where Quagliano, it's a good job by him to fire that on target. And again, leave it up to Z-Big and how hard he can throw it to first to maybe see if you can get two, but make sure you can get that lead runner.
No balls and a strike for Colton Bauer, who's been a real ball magnet this season. We noted this yesterday, but with 17 hit by pitches this year, he's 7 away from the Washington single-season record, which was set by Zach Clem in 2004. Hotchkiss takes off. The throw is on the left side of the bag from Schroeder, and Hotchkiss dives in safely.
You talk about the benefits of taking the hit by pitch. Watch this back. Colton Bauer does not move. That ball is right in on his shoulder, and he doesn't move. He doesn't bluff from that ball coming in. He essentially is okay with wearing it. He just kind of turns his head away. A lot of batters kind of back off a pitch that's that inside on him, and thus that gives a lot more room to the catcher, Schroeder, to kind of have a full throw to second. With him being okay standing right in there and possibly wearing it, if it does hit him, it just kind of, I don't know, makes it more claustrophobic on the plate for Schroeder to throw that ball to second base. It's a good job by Bauer, and one of those underrated benefits of being a guy that'll wear as many pitches as he does.
That one's into the Husky dugout. And Bauer, of course, has the right to just stay exactly where he is in that instance. He doesn't have to jump out of the way or anything for Schroeder to make the throw.
Yeah. As long as you're not stepping out of the batter's box, and it's a situation you see a lot when a guy strikes out, swings and misses on a third pitch, and then immediately starts to walk and forgets that somebody is going, and then you get called for batter's interference and get your guy out there as well. But, yeah, I mean, as long as his feet are planted, I believe there's some probably subjectivity to if he's, like, leaning over, the plate, but in the same way as, you're not able to lean over the plate to get hit. But he's allowed to plant his feet there and maintain his ground.
Slaps that one foul down the third base line.
Couple two-strike foul balls here by Bauer, and this is really what sparked the difference last night for the University of Washington. They were just pests at the plate. Taggart came up with a big double after a long AB. Bauer and DeCarlo each delivered some long ABs the same way Malachi Knight. And this is going to be an awkward little swing and bunt.
Yeah, swat down the third base line, and Shupman is able to make the adjustment, charge in, and throw out Bauer. Hotchkiss advances on the play, and there are 2 out in the fourth.
Heads up base running by Hotchkiss at second there. A lot of times balls hit to the left side of the infield. You're going to be conservative and just stay at second base. But that one, he read that Shupman was going to have to charge it, so he knew that nobody was going to cover second base. And honestly, maybe in an even better scenario for Hotchkiss, you maybe get Shupman to turn around and worry about you and try and make that play, and you avoid a tag, and then everybody's safe and you're on third with 1 out.
Gannon sails the first pitch inside for Blake Wilson.
2 outs here. This is this clutch opportunity. We saw the Huskies take advantage of it in the bottom of the first inning when they opened up the scoring with that double by Terry.
And the Huskies had opportunities to cross more runs yesterday. They left 9 on base in a game they won 3-1.
Yeah, again, it was one of the downsides to a night that, the Huskies really didn't allow a lot of opportunities from the Illini, and they certainly had more than just a chance to score 3 runs. But that's something, and I said it at the end of the game last night, if you're head coach Eddie Smith, you got to circle it and say, hey, a win's a win. We'll take a win any day of the week, but probably it'd be nice to just free up our arms a little bit more and take advantage of these opportunities right now. A runner 90 feet away with 2 outs.
1-2 for Wilson. Swings over it, and it scoots away from Schroeder. Hotchkiss sprints home. The Huskies catch a break and double their lead.
Take advantage of opportunities, and if it's swinging and missing and realizing the ball gets away from the catcher, then that's what you do. I mean, you know, that's heads up by Wilson, and obviously good communication from his dugout to make sure that he got to first. And the same thing at Hotchkiss, realizing just because I'm seeing my guy swing and hearing no contact, it doesn't mean the play's over. Let's finish it out with 2 outs. No matter if first base is open or not, you get a chance to run there. And Hotchkiss also savvy to know, if I get myself home, it's a 3-1 contest, the same final score as we had last night.
A real small ball run for the Huskies. Hotchkiss reaching on a fielder's choice, stealing second base, advancing to third on the swinging bunt, then coming home on a drop third strike. Wilson was off with that pitch, but Cole fouls it away.
Yeah, I mean, and it comes down to hard base running and smart base running by Hotchkiss, a true freshman. It's getting on first, just hustling that one out. I mentioned it was a tough play for Quagliano in general, but it was fairly close at first still. And then just finding your way to second, getting to third off a play that doesn't advance every runner from second to third. And then obviously you get half lucky by being able to reach home on that wild pitch.
Reed Gannon bounces back and strikes out Cole. Back-to-back Ks actually for the lefty to close out the fourth as the Huskies pad their lead, making it 3-1. It's been an entertaining series so far in Seattle, and we got one more on deck tomorrow. Maybe set your alarm to make sure you can get any morning chores out of the way before the 11:30 a.m. Pacific time first pitch for the series finale.
Got the Easter egg hunt tomorrow morning. I'm sure everybody will be waking up early.
Yep. Get that done. Get a meal in. Maybe get to the ballpark. Or join us on Big Ten Plus. It's 8-9-1 for Illinois in the 7th. Jacob Schroeder at the plate, after throwing out Blake Wilson to end the last half inning.
Yeah, and I already talked about it a little bit bottom of the 6th, but last night it was goose egg to finish that contest. Or maybe a Easter egg to finish out that contest. But the offense just could not find a way to get in rhythm and produce runs for Illinois. And again, it's not a foreign concept. UW has been doing that to opposing Big Ten offenses through the first 2 conference series of the year. I already said they did it to Maryland, who has a good offense, and they certainly did it to Purdue, who they swept here. As this one is hammered.
Schroeder got all of this one to left, and he sends it out into Union Bay to tie the ball game.
Talk about an offensive answer. That's what it is right there. And it's one of the veteran leaders on this team in Schroeder trying to capture some magic in a bottle and shoot that one out into Montlake. And, man, you knew that one was gone the second it looked off the bat. Didn't get much more than a glance from Guerrero, who gave a couple strides before watching it fly.
On a pitch that was over the outer half of the plate, able to get the barrel on it and still turn it out to left for his 7th home run of the season.
If that doesn't inject life into the Illinois dugout, then nothing will. Is this another base hit?
That thing's hit on the screws to left as well. Back-to-back hits to start the 7th. Shupman stays hot. And this Illinois offense is buzzing.
And that's 8 and 9 producing. And that's the thing we talked about yesterday. All 9 players in this Illinois batting order are going to compete. And I think that's what separates, the top from the bottom in this Big Ten. And it's the reason why UW and Illinois are in the top part of this league right now is because they have 9 players that will come up and compete at the plate constantly, as Chiloy is going to square the bunt here.
And he gets the bunt down. Wilson charges, makes the play. As Shupman advances on the sacrifice.
Love that call there again. It's a pitcher's duel. It's another defensive game. Find a way to get a runner into scoring position and then have some trust in Zebig and LaChance to be able to come through with a base hit and give Illinois their first lead of the series. And if it's Chiloy at the plate, with the speed he's got, you got a decent chance to maybe get even more than a sacrifice bunt. That one, you'll definitely take the sac bunt there and then trust this middle of the order.
Zebig 1 for 3 with the double. As Illinois tries to claim their first lead of the weekend. Fell behind 3-0 yesterday and only crossed 1 run. And they've dug out of the early hole that came at the very start of this game. It was 2-0 Huskies after the first. The Illini got a response in the fourth, but Washington tallied a single run there as well. Now we're knotted at 3 apiece.
Yeah, without napping on the big home runs that Illinois has hit on offense, big point that UW is going to look back to comes on offense for them, which was that bases loaded 1-out situation in the bottom of the 5th inning. They had bases loaded, 1 out. They had Guerrero on third, DiCarlo on second, Knight on first. And after a 5-2 fielder's choice and a flyout, it dispelled any chance of putting any runs on. That's one that they probably in that moment knew they might have to look back on and really wish they would have done more with it.
Zebig hits it on the ground to second, bobbled by Cole, but he recovers and throws out Zebig. Shupman gets down to third base on the second out.
A little hot potato. It's so difficult to stay with that ball after you don't field it cleanly off the backhand, but great job by Cole to find it right in front of him, not give up on the play, be able to fire it to first there. It's a completely different feel, as it looks like we got a pinch hitter here. LaChance was 0 for 3 on the evening with 2 Ks. I like the call to maybe give him the rest of the night off and to see if you can put Ross into the lineup and inject some life and come up with a clutch hit here. And again, Illinois has not had a lead this series. 1 hit, and they will have their first lead in Seattle.
A chance for the junior out of Pewaukee, Wisconsin, just outside Milwaukee. He's top 10 in the Big Ten in on-base percentage. Tied for second on the team in walks. Another guy with great plate discipline. But he takes that one for a strike, and the count's even.
JUCO product out of Madison College, which in terms of the JUCO ranks there in the upper Midwest, Madison College, perennial powerhouse. They're constantly going to the JUCO World Series. Really good squad. Comes from a winning pedigree.
And he flares this one in the infield. Long run for Taggart, but he gets there and finishes the frame. Illinois pulls even with Washington. Jacob Schroeder with the leadoff solo bomb. And we're all even at 3-3 as we stretch in Seattle.